Welcome to Life
on
Life's
Terms.
Episode 71. It's your host, Justin, with
Kenny.
And we're going to get into the topics today. Actually, is what happened to Kenny's pitch, successful starts, how much planning is necessary to start anything in your life, and what is going off half-cocked. But before we get into those topics, we need to do our shout-outs.
Ono Poke is a chef-driven fast casual restaurant serving Hawaii's signature dish. The menu features chef-curated poke bowls. Customers can select various bases for the bowls, including fur cake rice, quinoa, spring salad, along with vegetables, seasoning, and protein options such as torched miso salmon poke, the albacore tuna, and the spicy Thai salmon poke. You can build your own bowl. Ono in Hawaiian means delicious, and that's what it is. You can find Ono Poke at 10142 104 Street in Edmonton downtown, or Google them. You'll find them all over the country.
Our second shout out is for Modern Gravity. It is the best place to relax with their spacious float tanks. If you have not floated, you have to try this. We've talked about it many times on the show, and this is one of the best places to ever go and float. February is always a stressful month. For only $39.99 a month, you can enjoy a float a month and let it all go. Go to Modern Gravity's website at www.moderngravity.ca.
I'm going tonight.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I need it.
Excellent. So, what happened to the pitch, man?
Well, there's no point in making a pitch if you already know what the guy's answer is going to be, right?
Well, let's give a little bit of context. What happened?
Well, there was some I don't know, like this guy's feelings were hurt that I didn't sign something he asked me to sign.
So what did he ask you to sign?
Like a second non-disclosure agreement.
So you already signed the first
Yeah, I already signed one. Yeah. And then he gave me another one, and he fed me some bullshit lie about it, saying that it was done up by a lawyer and shit when it was made on a Word document an hour before. And he even likes to use these really tacky, corny fonts for everything, and it was still in one of the stupid fonts. And he's gonna try to tell me that it was done up by a lawyer. Anyways, so be it. So it is. You know what I mean? That relationship should have expired a year ago when he had a manic depressive moment and a breakdown at that time. And he really appreciated all the stuff that I did for him, get him a job.
Yeah.
And create the social media for the page. For the company, do all this stuff I did pro bono, free, for over a year and a half. And then because I didn't sign this thing, he got his fucking marbles in a knot. Oh, sorry, I don't even know if he has marbles. But he got his panties in a knot. And then
became upset.
He became upset. So he got one of the other people that was involved in this thing to remove me from the Facebook page that I set up, which was kind of suspicious on how that was done, but I'm not going to point any fingers.
Well, I think one of the questions that I have about all of it is usually it takes two people to dissolve a relationship.
Yeah.
And we always have to learn from those lickings, so to say, because it's always difficult. Right? It's always difficult to dissolve a relationship. There's always, sometimes it ends amicably and sometimes it doesn't. And I think in my perspective, and I might know a little bit more about the situation than the listeners do, but my perspective is the enthusiasm that you had towards this just wasn't on par with the other parties involved. And I think because of that can become a serious paralysis. And I think if there's any responsibility that we need to take is we're not on par. So if we're not on par, our responsibility is to say, well, look at me, I should probably go somewhere else. Instead of potentially trying to coerce or coax somebody to come along our way. I've been a casualty of that, thinking,
well, he's been holding my pocket since the get-go.
How do you mean by holding your pocket?
like
saying he's going to pay you and he doesn't?
Well, he right from the very beginning, like he even told my parents, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get him paid right away, and this and that, and he's gonna have a position for life with this organization for all he's done already." And he's like, "Oh, I'm so grateful for all he's done already," but then I just don't sign that one thing.
Yeah.
And he fucking ousts me as hard as he can. He knows how.
Yeah.
And like he had zero business skill whatsoever. He's never started up nothing. And we talked about that before, but next time I go into a partnership with anybody, there's going to be a contract written out prior to any work being done.
We can even talk about what we did here on Life's Terms. We didn't write a contract; we wrote an agreement.
Yeah,
and there was the reasoning for that is so I learned this very, very quickly. One, you don't go into business with friends, and you don't go into business with family. And the reason why you don't do that is because it's very hard to fire your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's also just as hard to fire a friend.
Yeah.
Instead, you create a partnership through your responsibilities and the attributes that you have exemplified.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going to start up with anybody, it doesn't matter if you like them or not. That really doesn't matter. What matters is can they exemplify what is necessary in order to have this business start, right? Yeah. Or any venture for that matter.
A big one for me is just like, are you going to do what you say you're going to do?
I think it's one of these things too. So where I started learning healthy partnerships was in AA, right? Or like the relationship between myself and my sponsor. Right? So that was like the first healthy relationship I had. No codependency. It was fuck you, get your shit done, and then we'll talk, and this is how you earn my time, and these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
So when that started becoming learnt through experience, what I started seeing was these are the people that I need to have in my life. Right? I need to have people who are healthy. I need to have people who exemplify the attributes that are necessary in order to build a really good team.
Yeah.
Right? So how did that come from my sponsor? And how did that happen from like ground one of sponsor-sponsee relationship to my friendships and business relationships today? Well, I don't cross the line of what a business and friendship is. It's just not. Like I don't do that. I mean, I'm friendly with everybody, but there's different boundaries for different people. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, because they have a lot of heart, they have a lot of loyalty that they want to give to something, this is what bites them, and this is what keeps them in the cold a lot, and they become very, very jaded, right? So one of the things that I have always suggested to people is don't jump into a ship that you don't know about. Learn who they are before anything, and then once you learn who they are, then you decide, okay, let's make a partnership. For instance, when you and I started this thing, you called me as soon as you got out of jail because you had heard about me from somebody else.
Yeah.
And what did I do? I put you in cold water. And the reason why I did that...
You sloughed me off, man.
Well, the reason, and the reasoning for it is because, let's be honest, I'm not trying to toot my horn, because that's not really who I am. But there's a lot of people who would like to work with me out of jail.
Yeah.
You know how many people aren't successful coming out of jail? A lot. A lot more are not successful
99% of them.
Than those who are successful. And when we, for instance, yesterday with Liam, we were talking about trademark. And any questions that you have from what Liam had said, bring it on right now. We'll get to those questions if you have any. But he was talking about trademark. Well, what's the trademark of Life on Life's Terms? The total ability to reform and to keep shit away from somebody who comes from shitty and made it to clean.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's the trademark. So if that's who I am today, one of the things that I would suggest is that's what I have to have throughout the entirety of my life. Right? I can't have one person who might be selling Coke on the side doing business with me. No. I have to vet everybody way more than I would somebody else. And the reason for it is because Justin has a trademark. And what's Justin's trademark? Justin, I tell you, you say my name to anybody in the industries that we work in, it's like gospel, because they know if I'm vouching, I vetted you to a degree that most people wouldn't vet somebody. Like, I've talked to gang unit. I've talked to police officers. I went and talked to people who are out there running around on corners still to see if you're still involved. Not that I'm friendly with them, but I'm only friendly with them in the context of I know who they are. They're not going to bullshit me because I work on the street. Like I work as in a crisis care helper. You know what I mean? You're in crisis. I can help you get housing. I can help you get to treatment. I can help you do things. Right? I don't make money off of it. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
So that being said, people are pretty friendly. They're not really going to lie to me. So that's why I'm saying, when you say that you're working with me and you go off somewhere else, they're going to say, wow, that guy's a pretty stand-up guy and he really changed. And if he's going to allow you to use his name, you'll probably change too.
Yeah.
Right? And that's right away. So that's why I don't take anybody right away. And I'm like, oh yeah, come join the team, because you're joining the team with like cops, and you're joining the team with people who would vet you very, very seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I like to think of myself as the gatekeeper to that group of friends that I've built. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why when he came out of jail, he called me, and it was more of a thing like, well, let's see where he goes. Let's see how it all develops.
Yeah.
And that was to see what you were capable of on your own.
Yeah.
Right? It sucks being in the cold. You and I talked about it before the show today. Sometimes you feel like you're in the cold and there's nobody talking to you, and you feel like, but eventually the sun rises again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where, you have to just kind of bear with it, but they'll come around. You just kind of have to stay the track.
Yeah.
Right? I would rather see somebody shit the bed without me around than shit the bed in my camp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can help you. I'll help you if you're out of the camp, but I'll also help you if you're in the camp. But I'd rather see that stuff run its course before you're in my camp. That's kind of the way how I see that, right?
Yeah.
So obviously the pitch is not happening.
Well, no, and I think it would be, it wouldn't be proper for me to continue with it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing will come of it. So, like, I just know where I need to take my next steps, and I need to go out and get a little bit more experience, and I need to clean up my credibility from certain people that I've been working with that don't have the best credibility.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get my experience I got some experience from there. I learned lots, but it's time to move on, do something new.
If I could say, I think you just took a big slice of humble pie.
Yeah, like, I could go out and like shit talk these guys for all the shit that they did, but it's not, there's no point in that. And, they're just doing the best that they can with what they got.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
right?
That's exactly it. And I think it's one of those, precarious situations where it's a precarious situation where, the select group of people are still sick. They're sick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Standing from the outside, like I said, my suggestion to you was, well, what did you contribute to the demise of that relationship? And that's very, very important to look at, categorize, and then make amends to it. Because if you never ever want to be in this situation again, that is what is 100% necessary for you to do in order not to fall into...
I think I was too ambitious. And I was too quick to justify myself. And even though, like, I like things that are just, I like things that are fair.
Yeah.
I like things that are, weighed properly.
Mm-hmm.
I caught a lot of flack for having to justify myself a few times. Why is my paycheck short? I had to justify that I should have made more.
Yeah.
And then, like, that was a problem. And then in that justification, they start seeing colors of me that they don't really like too much, and that's that I stand up for myself. So I think I was a little too ambitious, and I need to make.
I would suggest this as well, and it may be a blind spotted, but it could be. So have you ever heard the acronym "Didn't even know I lied"? So we use denial, right? Didn't even know I lied.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not suggesting that you lied. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is this. Sometimes we do actions that we don't recognize that we're doing.
Yeah.
And one of those things sometimes is we're so passionate about what we're doing is that we become coercive. So we coerce people into something that they really don't want to be a part of, but they're attracted to the passion that we have. And then what ends up happening is we bring them all the way to the finish line and they go, fuck this, I'm out. Right?
Yeah.
And so the big thing and I agree, that's a piece of ambition. But this is also where what we have to acknowledge is we're not actually being open to what the other person is really wanting to do. Right? So it's like, we can call that hostage taking. Right?
I guess from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum.
but that's kind of what ends up happening, right? And I think we're all, like, I know I've definitely 100% I've been faulty of that for sure, where I've hostage taken people without even realizing it. And next thing you know, we're ready to pull the trigger, so to say, and they're like, fuck this, I'm out. It's kind of like talking about a bank robbery. Like, we used to have a rule in my old crew of friends from my old lifestyle. If we talked about it for more than 5 minutes, it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Right? So so I always had that mentality. And what I realized in this lifestyle is that talking about things with normal people, they're not that way.
No.
Right? And then what ends up happening is we start feeding off of the ambition of where we're going. So I always talk about, like, any potential idea I have, it's almost like talking about a bank robbery. I've disclosed this on the podcast many times, is I still get turned on when I see a Brinks truck drive by.
Yeah.
Not saying that I would rob one, not saying that I've ever robbed one, but
my heart starts beating and I start thinking about the score and how you could disarm that guy.
Exactly. that kind of stuff, right? So, like, when I talk about business or entrepreneurial ideas, that's where my mind goes. Right? It's in that same place. I'm running as if I'm running to the next 10-yard line and somebody's chasing me all of the time, right? And so because of that, it's very easy for me to grab a bunch of people or 2 or 3 people in the room. They're like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And the next thing you know, we get there and it's, I'm not.
These guys are pissing their pants at the door.
Yeah, I'm not into that. And you're the only guy robbing the fucking Brinks truck, right?
Yeah, because the guys you bring with you are pissing their pants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why I said, remember in the earlier part of this conversation, I watched you. I watched you to see where you were going and what you were doing. I didn't bring Kenny into the Justin camp right away. You know what I mean? And then same thing, that's what you do. You got to watch them. Yeah, they're beautiful people, but let them prove themselves on their own.
Yeah.
They don't have to prove themselves with you. You don't have to be a part of that, right? Because everybody's going to struggle. And you know what? God bless them. If they don't, if it ends up not being with you, God bless them. If they end up getting on with some other organization or some other thing, God bless them.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful fucking life. That's great. Then we're actually in a place where we're saying we wish the best for everybody.
Because I genuinely do. Even my enemies, like, if I don't even consider that I have any.
Yeah.
But even the failed relationships.
Yeah.
God bless you. I wish you and your family the best.
Yeah. And I think that's, like I said, the actions that come because of our passion and our motivation. What can happen is we can hoodwink people unwittingly, and we take them hostage unwittingly. And then next thing you know, they're on a river that they can't get off.
Yeah.
Because it's
that's a
our
true story,
enthusiasm.
though, and I could totally see it now, even in the past, how we would, like, I would have to coerce a legitimate driver so I can go do my shit that I had to do. You know,
sure,
what I mean?
100%. I'll pay you with crack or whatever the hell you're
it was. Yeah,
whatever it was.
But I was always constantly convincing somebody to do something
And so this is the question that I always ask somebody when I'm pitching, or I ask myself actually before I pitch. Am I trying to coerce them into this? Or are they just going to be a willing partner? Because this is the thing. Selling is selling. But just pitching, talking about something, is just talking about something. Okay? And if they're going to come along with you, they're going to come along with you because they genuinely want to. That's your best partner. You don't want somebody who you hoodwigged in. I got to convince this guy. No, you don't have to convince anybody of anything. Because if you're trying to convince something, you have a shitty product. It's like, I just watched this thing on Netflix about Teflon. Christ almighty, that's the worst shit ever in the fucking world is Teflon. Probably going to sue us now, but that's okay. I think we could take them. It's the worst product in the world. You probably have chemicals in your body because of fucking Teflon.
Really?
Shit, you know?
It's that bad?
Yeah, it's that bad. Everybody in the world, they couldn't find anybody who didn't have Teflon chemicals in their body unless they were pre-Vietnam. They couldn't find blood without this chemical unless they were pre-Vietnam. So my point is this. Teflon was convincing you that they were the best product in the world, but it was a shit product. I mean, sure, shit slid off the pan and all that great stuff, but all the stuff that they were hiding from you of how detrimental it was to your health was because they had to convince you that it wasn't. Right?
Yeah,
just look at all the positives.
They had to convince you that it was good.
If you find yourself saying, just look at the positives, don't worry about the negatives when you're talking to somebody, well, that's an issue. That's an issue. Because now you're trying to convince and coerce somebody. You're not being genuine. Like if there's going to be any negativity or any downside, which there usually is to something, I come right out and say it. Look, this is a potential of this happening, and if this happens, this is how I describe we're going to mitigate this issue, right? And that's fine, but that's being completely transparent. Some people see transparency as a negative. I see it as you can see right through me because I'm not hiding anything from you.
Yeah, it's a strength,
right? So yeah, I would suggest instead of the pitch then to go back, look at how you were managing that relationship on your side. And anything that was the negative that you may, like maybe you did coerce them unwittingly. Maybe you did hostage take them unwittingly.
100%.
So if you did those things,
I did.
Then make amends for them so that you don't have those attributes again. Because obviously that was a part of the demise of the relationship. But when we go off and do those things, it's never about, well, I had to fight for my paycheck. Guess what? That's for them to figure out that they were in the wrong. It's not for us to point the finger at them saying, well, you fuckers did this to me. So that's not a responsibility. Okay. The only thing I'm responsible for is what I've done. I'm not responsible for what they've done to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if anybody asks me,
hey,
I'm not going to lie.
I'm responsible for building those motherfuckers' businesses.
Right? Like
from nothing to something.
I would always say this. I'm not going to lie. So if somebody were to ask me about an organization that maybe didn't pay me, I'm not going to say, well, they were great people, but they didn't pay me. I'm just going to say they didn't pay me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to come out and voluntarily give that information. But if I'm asked about that organization, I'm going to be honest. I can't lie. That's my integrity.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the issue in itself. Right? You don't have to go up to them and say, well, you did this, you did this, you did this. No. And, as opposed to that, I think the way to take the high road is to say, I did this and I apologize and I will not do this again with anybody in my life. Right? And then, because I mean, it's like this as well, right? Let's say somebody committed a DUI and they killed a bunch of people. And the family's really upset. Well, you could send that guy away to jail for life, but is the family really going to feel great about that?
Yeah.
Probably not.
They'll feel more great forgiving him.
And they'll feel better that he's not going to commit that crime again. They don't want him in jail.
They want him healed.
That's right. Yeah. So this is the same thing that you're providing these people is you're saying, look, I'm not going to do this again with anybody. That's the amends. More so, you're never going to have to put yourself in that situation again because you're going to be now
aware,
hypersensitive that I could be doing this.
Yeah.
And I need to allow people to be people.
I fucking appreciate you, bro.
That's
because I needed to hear that right now. I really did because that's been a big thing. That's a pattern that I can see. Is my ambition is too high. I'm all excited about something,
Sure.
and I'm fucking dragging people along on an idea that don't want to be there, and then it doesn't happen.
And then the other thing, the other thing that I would suggest is when we get passionate about things like that, like you and I have had ample conversations about being organic, how to just be organic. Sometimes,
Like being vegan.
or no, like just being organic within your relationships, or like how Life on Life's Terms has come around in an organic way. We didn't really,
we didn't do paid advertising shit like that,
or we didn't even, like, the other thing that we didn't do is we didn't coerce people into this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we didn't do that. Life on Life's Terms is Life on Life's Terms. It is what it is.
Check us out. We're pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a product of itself, right?
That's about it.
So my point is that being organic and allowing things to grow on its own allows us to stop fucking it up. Because the second that I've always noticed, when I put my hands in it and I start manipulating things, and I don't even recognize that I'm manipulating things because I think it's of the best benefit for that entity, I recognize now, hindsight 2020 being perfect, I'm not God and I was just playing God. Right? As soon as I see that I'm like later on down the road, I'm like, oh fuck, I was totally manipulating there. Well, why didn't it work out? Because guess what, Justin? You didn't play your role. You played God. You decided to be a director as opposed to an actor. Actors can still be the leader, but a leader is not the person who's bringing people to the gates of hell. And they're not bringing them to the gates of heaven. Leaders are the people who help people in that group be the best that they are going to be.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about delegating as a leader. That's not a leader. A leader is somebody who can exemplify the qualities that are necessary. You do not have to be the boss to be a leader. You can be an employee and be a leader. Right? Like that's the quality. When you recognize that as soon as I stick my own hand in this thing, I have now not allowed my higher power to do what he needs or it needs to do.
Yeah.
I've taken that right away from him, and he's going to allow this to shit all over my pants. And it happens. That's why it happens. You know, if you just get the fuck out of the way and let it do what it's got to do, it's going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on that. And like, you know, I don't want to like pass you the puck, but like, when you were like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to challenge you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then that day came that second disclosure, and I was like, fuck you type thing, right?
Yeah.
And then it all went to shit. But it didn't go to shit. What it did is it opened up new doors and new possibilities for me. So it actually was like a blessing in disguise.
Well,
but I was cursing you.
Yeah. Well,
under my breath that first night. I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have agreed to that fucking challenge from Justin.
I would suspect, though, that the relationship was already in jeopardy prior to
100%.
that.
100% it was.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things where a relationship doesn't dissolve just because of the last five days even. You know what I mean? It takes a little while for that to happen, because typically, and this is what I've learned from past relationships going to hell. It's a nice segue into next month's theme, being relationships and all.
Dun, dun, dun.
One of the things that I've always recognized is that usually relationships fall apart because both people aren't being honest with each other, and typically that honesty falls within the feelings.
Yeah.
So we're hiding things. We're saying, fuck, I really feel this way, blah, 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 blah. So then we'll spout off to our girlfriend or we'll spout off to a friend. But the person who really needs to hear that shit is never hearing it. And there never becomes a reconciliation of what it is. And then when we go and spout off to these people, what we don't recognize is they're biased because they're only hearing one side of the story.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to be like, well, yeah, man, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, my sponsor used to tell me all the time, you say, well, according to what you're saying, if you're being honest with me, and he used to say that shit to me all the time, and it fucking piss me off, right? What the fuck you mean? I'm fucking lying to you? I'm not lying to you. He used to piss me off all the time. But he was right when he was saying, because I recognize now, well, I'm biased. I'm not telling the full story. I don't know what the other guy thinks, because he's probably not telling me what he fucking feels.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm just shoehorning everything in one way, right? And then when I do that, I mean, what's the advice I'm going to get from the other person? The advice I'm going to get from the other person is going to be one-way direction.
Just another bias story.
That's right. Or it's going to be a bias based upon what I gave them. So what my sponsor always used to say is consider the source, man.
Yeah.
Consider the source.
Yeah, consider the source.
So if the source is telling you one story, but they can't tell you the objective from maybe the other person, they're tied up in their fucking head. And once you see that, then you say, well, okay, well, this is one way of doing it, but it's probably like could conclude your relationship. You know what I mean? It could do that.
Yeah.
And that's a potential that could happen with anybody, right?
No, I'm okay though with washing my hands of people when the time is right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
like that just creates a universal vacuum, and it's going to be filled with more people.
Yeah.
And it's going to be filled with people that have the same caliber energy that I'm putting out.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry,
Yeah.
right? And I'm going out there finding more people who are hungry and creative and driven and passionate.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen.
Any questions from Liam yesterday? That was a great show, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was pretty funny. He had me cracked up a few times. He's a very interesting character.
I think the thing that was great with Liam is he really packed in what you need. So this is okay. So you want to know what gives a guy an edge. Okay, so I've started a lot of businesses in my time, and a lot of failed businesses. I didn't even make it the second week, and the reason for it was because I fucked up the legal side of things.
Yeah.
Remember I said it always scared me, so I had to really learn how to incorporate, right?
Yeah.
Once you know that, you can look at any idea and be like, fuck, I know how to incorporate this. This is easy. This is easy because it just becomes a process. And literally what I liked what Liam had did was he broke it down as in a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So when he did that, it made, you want a 101 how-to guide to start your business, that was yesterday's episode with meeting Liam Connolly. I mean,
well, yeah, like there was some of the stuff that I've never heard of before, like that Part 9 company.
Yeah.
And like how, if you have the plans of starting a foundation or creating some sort of company that's going to generate a lot of money where you can become a foundation, then start out as Part 9.
Yes.
Right? And then
So one of the other things that I would suggest is start as a Part 9 because actually your society doesn't fit within the roles of society, which is education, religion, arts, housing, and health. I think are the 5. There might be 6 in there. So if your not-for-profit doesn't fit in those categories, then start with the Part 9.
Really? So
like
addiction? No, that's health.
That's health.
What about institutions? What about jail?
Could be education, depending on what you're doing. So this media company could be a Part 9 company.
Yes.
And it would still be a not-for-profit because
that makes and keeps profits.
That's right. But we would have to redistribute those profits back into the farm with the kids for the Junior Entrepreneurs Program.
Yeah. Right?
Things like that.
Yeah.
So you're hearing these media companies saying, well, we're a media company, but we're not for profit. Well, that's fantastic.
But what are you doing with it?
Well, that's how they've incorporated it. So they're probably a Part 9 company, and being a Part 9 company, unless they're disseminating education, then they would fit into the Societies Act, right? It all depends on how they're going about it, right? So yeah, that was really good. I think he really broke down when to use a non-disclosure and when not to use a non-disclosure.
Well, he only said it briefly, just all the fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Yeah. But you need to have a non-disclosure if you have an incorporated company. You can't just non-disclosure somebody because you don't have you're not incorporated.
Yeah.
Like you have to be incorporated to give somebody say, I want to talk about this. Here's my non-disclosure.
Yeah.
You can't be like, I want to talk about this, sign my non-disclosure, and you're not even incorporated. That makes no sense. Right? I would look at you and be like, well, you're a fucking moron. I'll sign that all day long. Try to take me to court. I'm pretty sure I could win that battle without paying a lawyer. You know what I mean? It's not an incorporated entity. So what the fuck are you? You're just telling me that I can't talk about your idea?
Suck a dick or something.
You know, I would be very, very leery about that kind of stuff, you know? So yeah, I think that was pretty. It was a nice wealth of talent coming in.
Yeah, and I learned lots about like copyright and stuff like that. Like when writing a business plan, as soon as you put pen to paper, there's a copyright on it.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I want to ask him. Right?
Yeah, I want to ask him like, okay, well, what if this motherfucker has ideas written down pen to paper? Is that copywritten? And then it's like,
kind of it is. Yeah.
So then I sign a non-disclosure on something that's just an idea still, but he wrote it down.
Yeah. So you can't really steal it that way.
Well, it's not. Yeah.
But you can reiterate it in your own words. That's not plagiarism.
Yeah.
Right? You can do that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I kind of thought about right after the show is like, remember I kept going like, ba-da-bum-bum-bum, and that's trademark, right?
Yeah. I wonder if we can get paid for that.
Well, no. So one of the things that I was thinking about as I was at the gym yesterday afternoon was what's Life on Life's Terms trademark?
We need a jingle.
We kind of have a trademark already. You know what it is? It's that lion.
The lion pride.
It's that line that we have.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the trademark.
Oh, guess what I'm going to pick up today?
What's that?
Lion rings.
Oh, excellent. That's awesome. So yeah, I think life, like I said, we didn't start this podcast like pushing it, you know?
No, we just slowly got the ball rolling, and now it's rolling.
It's rolling a little faster than slow, but it's rolling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
A little faster than slow. We're not a steam training
no,
yet.
But it's. I mean, look at the Facebook page.
Yeah. Yo, like and share that shit. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, big shout out to all of you guys, because it's pretty amazing what you guys are doing.
We just seen a jump of like 500 people in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I was blown away.
Yeah, me too. I was pretty impressed. And
appreciate you.
Even the Instagram stuff too, man. You guys are just kicking it. You know, I can't believe the love that we're getting from the people out there. You know,
yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, successful starts. What is something that you started and was successful, and how much energy did you put into it?
My beer phone. That was a semi-legit company anyways.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do legalities, but it wasn't like an indictable offense. Right? So it was like just like under the water of being legal or not legal, right?
Yeah.
But like I would sell beer to cops when they called me.
Yeah.
Because I'm keeping drunks off the road. So at the end of the day, I knew I was doing something good.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I got that thing going just word of mouth.
Yeah.
Got a phone, made some business cards. I had a good creative idea for the business cards.
Now let's hold on here.
Okay.
Let's hold it. You notice how you said, and key, you didn't push it hard. Key.
Yeah, no. I did. Yeah.
And look at how successful it was. Now let me ask you this.
Quickly too.
Now let me ask you this. How many of your failed attempts were you pushing hard, and they just went right into the fucking ground?
Yeah, I noticed lots of times like the middleman stuff that I would do. You know, it's like you can have like a referral business, or you can have like a hot link, or you can do referral marketing, or what's it called? Where you advertise for another business.
Just marketing.
Okay. Anyways, and you can generate another business entity, a whole bunch of money. But if that shit's just on a handshake deal,
oh yeah,
then it's not going to last.
Yeah,
because they're going to take your business and they'll be like, oh yeah, see you later.
Yeah, your payoff.
And like lots of times back in the illegitimate world, I noticed that. And even now, I'm having issues around a couple things that I've been doing for people. Like, you know what? Here, I'll send you business. You're new. I can send you clients.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe I sent them 20, 30 clients that are guaranteed at least $5,000 a pop.
Yeah.
And they haven't given any kickbacks or nothing yet. You know, Christmas just happened, and I'm not the type of guy to go asking for it because there was no contract. It was on a handshake deal.
Yeah. This is what I suggest is, so our sponsors, our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, they pay us 50% up front, and then they pay us 50% after the contract is done. Why do we do that? We do that so that there is some good faith in there, and we can still run our operation in the upfront.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to make a deal like that with anybody, you need to have an agreement of that in place. I remember there was one time when I first started out, and that's what I did for 3 days out of 1 week, just making agreements on things that I knew I was going to be perpetuating all of the time.
Yeah.
And I had them in my bag. And when I went to go meet people, I said, "Oh, that's a great idea. You want to sign this agreement with me? What's this?" Well, it's just a simple agreement saying that when you get some, I get some, and so on and so forth. And it was literally fill in the blanks of what the product was. I used to do that all the time. And that's when people in the business world recognize, well, this guy isn't, he's not some fucking idiot.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
You know what I mean? He's tying me up a little bit.
And I'm taking my licks right now for it.
Yeah.
Honest, I am.
Yeah.
Because I'll never fucking make this mistake again.
I 100% encourage you, Kenny, to re-listen to that episode. Well, you got to. You're writing the blog.
Yeah, I got to write it.
So that's your blog. Re-listen to that episode, because he's going to teach what I noticed, and I think a lot of people with salt in the business world, listening to that Liam show, is that it reiterates all the shit to cover your bases again.
Yeah.
That's really what Liam did for people who have salt in the game, so to say.
What do you mean by that?
So like people who've done a couple deals, made a couple bucks.
Oh, we got salt in our wounds?
Well, they're salty. So like they've been around a little bit. Like they've been around a little bit. You know what I mean? They're worth their salt. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So what Liam did was he reiterated the shit that we already know. That's really what he did. And by doing that, it made it a good episode for new people and a good episode for people who've been in the business world for a little while, right? Because sometimes you just get into the same rut of what you're doing over and over and over again, right? And that, you forget about things. Like there was some stuff that he said yesterday where I just completely forgot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can do things that way, and oh yeah. So then I went back and I looked at my own paperwork, because I'm basically, my laptop is a walking office, literally. Like I'll be sitting with someone and be like, "Hey, can I print this piece of paper?" And I'm like, "Hey, you want to sign that?" Like that's I've done that more than once. Like, "Can I print something here?" "Yeah, of course you can." So then I send it, and then I get it, and then I look at the person. I'm like, "Want to sign that before I leave?" Like I've done that before. Or before I start, I'll be like, we'll be sitting in a meeting or whatever. We'll be sitting in a meeting, and I'll say, "Oh, can I print some stuff here before we start?" And, yeah. They'll let me print stuff, and then I'll print it out, and I'll be like, "Before we start, can you sign this stuff?" And I just printed it all off of their printer. Right? I've done that before because my computer has everything. So anyways, like I said last night, what I did was I re-looked over everything again, because it's always good to re-look your contracts.
Yeah.
One of the other things too is, why do you hire a lawyer? To look at all those contracts. It's going to cost you $5,000 for him to look at it, edit it, make it right. And then when he gives it back to you, you know that a lawyer is willing to stand up in court if you're sued over those contracts.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that he understands your purpose for that contract, and he can then gear it for your purpose. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Successful start for me. This podcast, most recent.
Yeah.
This is the most recent successful start. I didn't expect it to be what it's become. I didn't expect it for the people that, like, we got a blogger, who's going to be on the show next week. So Chelsea's making her debut on the mic next week.
We're going to have fun with that one.
Yeah. So she'll probably get her lickings in next week.
Some inappropriate interview questions.
Yeah, maybe. Well, she's already got the job, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, so I think this has been one of the most recent successful starts. How much planning is necessary to start? Well, we recognized yesterday with what Liam had said. Did you expect that is really the necessary part of a startup?
Well, yes and no. like I know that there's quite a bit of paperwork that go into the beginning of it, but I didn't know how serious it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like caught wind yesterday that, you know, the paperwork at the beginning and the incorporation of it, and like first and foremost the incorporation of it, and then following suit with other legalities, getting the lawyer, like really you're building your foundation of your business.
Yeah, 100%.
And that needs to be built on stone.
See,
and if you don't do that, your fucking business is built on sand and is gone with the first come gust of wind or flood or fuck all. You're losing your shit. You're going to lose your shirt because you didn't have the foundation set up properly.
You ever recognize too that you have great ideas? See, I recognize this in a lot of self-starters, is that they have great ideas, but they don't know how to do the legal side, as most people don't. So then they go and do the things that they think they know, like drawing out plans, all this stuff, right? And really their time was wasted because they could have sat in front of a fucking Google search engine looking up the shit that they need to legally start something.
Yeah.
And that is worth way more of your time than sitting there trying to paper plan everything out of where you're going by what it looks like. That's trademark stuff.
Yeah.
And the way how I see trademark stuff is that's an organic grow. You know what I mean? That's not something that's going to happen. Like McDonald's didn't come up with their jingle just yesterday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's been around for a little while, or by Menon. That's been around, and then you think deodorant. Shit, I need some Gillette. Fuck, right? Like that happened over time, right? So like all that outside looking at stuff really is going to come. There's no point in looking at that before your paperwork is down, you know. And if there's anything that any of the listeners, you know, can utilize out of yesterday's episode is that's how you start. Where are you starting? What are you starting? And where are you going? What's the ultimate goal? The other thing that I'm going to say as a business owner is this. Are you ready to live and die for your business? Because remember how you were saying we have loyalty to these people? That's bullshit, Kenny. That will fucking chew you up day in, day out. Instead, you and I need to have a loyalty to life on life's terms if we're going to use that as the subject matter. We can have loyalty with each other all we want, but it's better for us to respect each other and have loyalty to the business.
Entity. Yeah,
that's right.
The fucking legal entity.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have loyalty to that. Why? Because it's just like God. It has no means. It's not a person. It can't. The only way how it can fail.
It can't is by us. Failing it.
That's
it's not
right.
going to fucking stab. The business isn't going to stab us in the back or fuck our old ladies.
That's right. So yeah, exactly. Fucking yeah. The other piece.
Hey, where are we going with that?
The other piece is this. So you talked about those 500 people that are on our Facebook page now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now it's Life on Life's Terms, 500 people, then it's Justin, and then Kenny. Or it's Life on Life's Terms, 500 people, Kenny, then Justin, depending on who's looking at it. You always come last. When you're looking at it in your shoes, you look at it as you are the tail end of that fucking thing.
Yeah.
And how are you going to serve those customers?
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it. Right? Because if you're looking at it as what is Life on Life's Terms going to give me, it's giving you nothing, man.
No, you'll suck that dry quick.
That's right. What are you giving it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to be the one that's putting the water in the water cooler, so to say.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Because if nobody's doing it, right, then there's just no point to it. Right? So did you recognize how much planning was really necessary aside from how in depth, I guess is my question, is how in depth the incorporation really is?
No, I had no idea really like how in depth it was, but like I'm going out on a limb right away here and I'm going to be incorporating something for practice, and it's just going to be a continued project.
Yeah.
And something that I'm not really going to push.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to deal with it as it comes. Or like I'm going to, as I meet people and as I put together more paperwork and as I put together something that's more sellable, whether it's a service or product or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll have that thing incorporated first and foremost.
Yeah.
So when the time comes, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, it's best to practice an incorporation or incorporating and seeing what those hoops are like. The other thing that we didn't touch on, and we'll probably touch on this self-starter for next season in season 3, is how to write a policy and procedure manual, because that is also another legal side. That's another legal side to starting your business that, well, look at, so let's use Life on Life's terms. So basically, yourself and our blogger, the Lifer, you guys are under contract. You're not an actual employee of Life on Life's terms. Okay. Now, why did we do that? Well, the reason why we did that is because there's no policy procedure manual, and
because Life on Life's terms
is its own entity.
Is not incorporated.
Well, it's its own thing, right? No, it is. It is incorporated. Like it's going to have an incorporation, right?
Yeah.
So when people are on their own, you always want to run it on its own, because that leaves less infrastructure for your business. So as long as you
liability.
Yes.
Yeah. Less liability.
Like
once the whole incorporation thing is done 100%, then you can have employees and not have it fucking fall back on it.
So one of the things that how you would, in regards to a media company, you would have employees like somebody answering a phone, but you would not want your personalities as employees. And the reason why you don't want that is because if they were to get sued, you have to be able to let them go. So typically what happens...
But if I get sued, I'm coming back as Johnny Five.
So typically what ends up happening is they try to give you what's called profit sharing without the culpability of liability. That's what they do. So they say you're essentially an owner without having the liability. So you gain all the profits, just as a business owner would. However, you're through contract, so your paycheck will go up and down depending on how the profits of that entity are working. Like, what is it? And then what ends up happening from that is you get paid, but if you fuck up because you're only on contract, you're asked to leave. So essentially, like I said, you get all of the entitlements and benefits of being a shareholder in regards to profit sharing. However, if you get sued, you're just asked to leave.
Yeah.
Therefore, the company doesn't have any liability. And secondly, you are responsible for your own opinions, right?
Yes.
That's how that works. And anybody who's hired by the incorporation, they're secretaries, they're schedule people, they're those people, PR, producers, so on and so forth. Those are basically your administrators, right? But the people that are the worker bees, those are people that you hire in contract to come in. This way, if you have to sever that off, you can sever it off, right? So that's why you do it in that regard, right? It just makes for a better relationship, and it allows you, like, see, for instance, being an executive editor, I probably wouldn't want to be on the mics, because I'm the one who makes the decision whether that material goes out or not. So if an entity is sued, I'm the one who basically would have to be fired by the board of directors of a media company. That's how that would work. Because it's like this. Remember how you're saying, well, PR will save it? No. PR is we fired that fucking guy. We put somebody else in his place, and we won't make that mistake again. That's PR, right? They're not saying, well, that guy's still a good guy. Unless you're Bill Clinton, then it fucking works. You know, I didn't inhale, and she didn't suck my dick in the beginning, and then all of it, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff happened.
Yeah, I swear I seen fucking Tom Ford when I was in Calgary.
Tom Ford.
Remember the Toronto mayor?
Oh, Jesus Christ, he's dead.
Oh, is he dead?
Fuck, he's dead.
Fuck, I seen his doppelganger then.
Rob Ford.
Rob Ford, yeah. Okay, Tom Ford's
he's dead.
The glasses that I'm wearing. Rob Ford, yeah.
Rob Ford's dead.
He has a brother, though, that looks just like him, right?
Who's the premier of Ontario right now?
Oh, okay. Then it wasn't him.
What is half-cocked? Now that you know all this stuff about incorporating legal entities, what would you say is half-cocked now?
Going out there trying to start a business without your incorporation papers.
Or pitching something that's not incorporated.
Yeah.
Or...
oh, thanks for the idea, fucko.
Yeah. Or the other thing is without a non-disclosure. That's half-cocked, right?
Yeah.
Or not doing your research. If you're not doing your research, I'm not a guy who, like, run 2 or 3 case studies, fine. Then go fucking pitch. That makes sense. But you better know damn well what the fucking market looks like before you go and start talking about that market to somebody that you're trying to buy in. You can't do that shit, man. You can't go. And the other thing is you're better off not to use the people that you know to create a business, like a business line. Right? If you're going to say to somebody, hey, I'd really like to promote you, blah, 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 don't do it with somebody that you know. Do it with somebody that you don't know. And the reason why you do it with somebody that you don't know is because you're not proven yet. You're not proven yet. And if you're not proven yet, I'd rather shit the bed on somebody that I don't know than somebody that I do fucking know. Right? That's the way how I see that. And that's why I would rather be working, I would rather work with people who are starters than people who've been established. Because people who've been established, their track record, there's things that they're not going to be as easy to pitch to. And this is only for self-starters. If you're a self-starter and you're trying to, make the boat a little bit bigger so that you guys can kind of like spread the wealth a little bit, right? Help each other out, promote each other. You do this with self-starters. You don't go to you don't go to fucking the investors group and be like, yo, I got these mutual funds. You want to buy them? They'd be like, fuck off. We own that. like that's, you know what I mean? You don't do that. Instead, you go to your buddy who you went to school with, who's also a financial advisor, and you say, hey, we should sell this shit together. Yeah, you're both self-starters. You should fucking sell it together. That makes sense. Right? You know, some guy who just started a business and he can't afford advertising. Well, you're running a podcast? Give him a deal. Give him a deal on your podcast to buy up the first 3 minutes of your show. That's what you do. Because to go to an established business over a long period of time, like we would never have McDonald's or Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them.
No.
Because I don't believe in the food. Secondly, they have their own marketing niche.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm a part of. That's like I'm not saying Ono Poke hasn't been around for a long time, because they've been around for a while. They're widely popular in America. They're very, very new in Canada. And the beautiful thing about it is they're a starter. They're a starter here, and that's why I'm behind that all day long. And it's healthy food. You know what I mean? Like
good healthy food.
Yeah, and it's affordable, and it's affordable, and it's accommodating. You know what I mean? So I think, that's why I would say those are the people you want to be with. But don't be an asshole, half-cocked, walk into fucking the McDonald's manager and say, I would love for you guys to be my sponsor. That fucking person's gonna look at you like you're a fucking moron. Straight up, they're just gonna be like, "What are you, fucking stupid? I don't have money to fucking advertise. Are you dumb? What kind of fucking shit for brains do you have in that fucking melon of yours?"
I'm scraping it by on this franchise, paying these high fees.
Exactly. Like you don't do that, man. That's just silly, right? Like that's just silly. So I think we've touched all of the topics.
Yeah.
This is pretty well the last topic for startups. Next week we have Chelsea coming in. So what's going to happen there is
relationships.
Well, yeah, she's going to talk a little bit about her blog. of what she did like in this theme
Yeah.
for startups.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about relationships. So I think I might have said this on air. So I invited my ex-girlfriend to come on the show.
Okay, wait. I just broke it to my girlfriend last night while we were in bed
Oh yeah.
that I'm bringing on an ex-girlfriend yet.
Yeah.
She's like, which one?
So
I was like, dear, honey, like, I'm going to be respectful and she's like, mm-hmm. And she just rolled over.
so mine said no.
You said no?
They were like, no, I really don't want to participate. And that's fine. I mean, it's pretty public, right? And some people just don't want to be public. And that's fine.
Yeah.
So they said no. And any of the others are pretty much smoking crack on the street. So like there's no point. I mean, we'd probably get robbed for
Like,
all of the equipment if they came in.
I have one who there's two that I could pitch to.
There's one for me, really.
There's two that I can pitch to. One of them is like successful business woman. She does like marketing stuff for bigger companies, and like she was like a Red Bull girl and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And then the other one works in Edmonton in the same field that we do.
Okay.
Right. I think she's at one of the detox centers or the homeless centers in Edmonton right now.
Okay.
And we both have some interesting stories.
Yeah.
And they both will be able to embarrass the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that pitch today to them, and I'll see if I have any bites. But nothing's guaranteed yet.
Yeah, nothing's guaranteed. I mean, I'm in the same boat. This person may change their mind. I highly suspect that they're not going to. Because there was some responses, and then it just went cold, and it was like, meh. So there's that, and then and we're probably going to try to grill Chelsea a little bit because you got your lickings through the interview. Chelsea's already got her job. She's just got the job, so can't really give her an interview. But I don't know. We'll think of something.
I'll muster up a couple inappropriate questions.
So I don't even want to say this because she'll probably listen to this episode before coming on. So I'm just gonna, we'll just be quiet about it. But I can tell you right now, Chelsea's already like sweating hard.
She's sweating.
Yeah, she's sweating.
We told her how many average listeners we get, and she's like, "Why the fuck did you tell me that? I don't need to know that shit."
Yeah, so
we'll have fun.
Yeah, God bless you, Chelsea. This is a part of the show.
She's
right?
getting thrown to the lions.
All right, brother. Let's wrap this fucker up.
Okay, please subscribe and share with all your friends. You can find the After the Show blog at www.lifeonlifetermspodcast.com. Please become a Pride member as soon as convenient by dropping us your email on our website. We do not solicit or sell your email to anybody. We do not give it to our sponsors. It is just for giving you information about the show. And if you'd like to become a financial contributor, we do have a Patreon page. It is www.patreon.com/lifeonlifesterms with capital L's. A contribution of as little as $5 a month, we will send you all the good vibes we can.
You guys have a wonderful Friday.
Adios, amigos.
Peace.